thank you all. It's nice to have you with us. Make sure that who intends on speaking tonight has signed in. Okay, and with that, Mr. Knoll, I'm going to send this over to you.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank my administrative colleagues in attendance tonight and our board members that have joined me tonight wearing blue to support Autism Awareness Month. I also want to thank all of our staff and students that helped light it up blue today as well across Canfield. The CDC has determined that approximately 1 in 54 children is diagnosed with the autism spectrum disorder. Boys are 4 times more likely to be diagnosed than girls. Autism affects all ethnic and socioeconomic groups. There is no medical detection for autism. Most of you know my wife and I have a son named Andrew, who is diagnosed with autism and Down syndrome. We have many great days as a family, but we also know that people that have students with or kids with special needs, that there's tough days, there's tough times.
Amen.
And we have to live with that disorder 24/7. Autism is no walk in the park for those that have it, nor for their loved ones. Many of our children are nonverbal, like my son. They're flight risks, they have behavior issues, and they get looked at or treated differently. Autism is the fastest growing developmental disorder and surely deserves more than just a month dedicated to educating people about its effects and the ways to make autistic people's lives happier, healthier, and safer. During this time of COVID-19, no school a year ago, remote learning, social isolation, the battle has been even tougher for families like mine. I am so grateful that we've been in person this school year here in Canfield.
Amen.
For parents of special needs kids is a true blessing. To all of our parents of students with special abilities out there tonight, please know that you are not alone. My wife Jennifer and I are here to support all of you. So I sat down with my son, and he can't write, he's nonverbal, but I was kind of wondering what's on his mind. So I wrote a letter from my son to all of our parents here in Canfield. So this is from my son. Dear friends, hi, my name's Andrew, I'm 17. I'm nonverbal, have Down syndrome and autism. I've been a little scared and anxious about COVID over the past year, but my mom and dad have been taking good care of me. And I'm sure your parents have done the same. I enjoy listening to music, throwing socks at my friends, watching YouTube videos, and taking showers. I have a great smile and great sense of humor. I like to take credit for that, but my wife was probably watching. So I'm just gonna let it be said. At school, I enjoy art class and throwing my bear at all my friends. I'm finally able to go to Grandma's, my favorite place, now since we are all fully vaccinated. We sit outside and have a great time. I want to tell you, you're not alone. I'm a lot like you. And my parents are willing to stand beside your mom and dad as well. Remember this, what makes you different is what makes you beautiful. Have a great finish to the school year, Cardinals. My dad says he's very proud of all of you. Love, Andrew Knoll. Mr. Vittle.
Tonight I'd like to recognize and honor our students with disabilities and our staff who provide the supports to help them succeed in school and life. In our schools, we have over 300 students with disabilities. They are served by 53 staff members. We serve students from mild disabilities all the way to the most severe in our school system. We serve students from each of the 13 special education categories. I'm so very proud of our services and especially our staff. Words probably won't do it justice, but I am every day amazed at their patience, their care, their compassion. Watching these folks in action is probably one of the best ways for me to improve on a day that I'm in a bad mood, or if I'm questioning the condition of humanity. A few things that the Board of Education in our community can be proud of in terms of our special education services. First, we educate our students in our schools, as opposed to using county programs or outside agencies. Second, we are committed to inclusion. Our students, the overwhelming majority, are included in general education classes and electives, specials, and extracurricular activities, as opposed to having little exposure to these programs. This inclusive model benefits both the typically developing students and the students with disabilities, and is probably the best disability awareness that we can give our typically developing kids. We have many great programs, so I'm hesitant to single any out, but our Helping Hands program at the high school has special relevance to disability awareness. This is a credited course for students that are typically developing, where they are paired and work with our students with disabilities. Over the years, many of these students have chosen careers in special education. Lastly, something that we can be proud of is that we're providing quality services. External validation by the Ohio Department of Education in terms of receiving multiple consecutive years of the highest rating on the special education report card. I will conclude by acknowledging and honoring our Canfield families who trust us to educate their children with disabilities. This homeschool partnership is a key to our success and a privilege that we do not take for granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vito.
Mrs. DeCapua,
Yes, Mrs. Klucher?
I know it's not on the agenda. May I say something briefly?
Yes.
I have a son with autism too, and we just started our journey. Well, we started our journey in kindergarten, or maybe even before. But this year, Canfield worked with us to identify our child with his autism disability and have him placed on his IEP. And the team has been really great, and thank you, Mr. Vito, because you facilitated that, and his classroom teachers, and Mr. Flood as his principal, and Mr. Maroney as his principal before. You guys never gave up on Ben. You worked with us, and you made sure that he had what he needed and the teachers had what they needed. And I'm just very grateful, and I was also excited to get the letter. He's not only on an IEP, but he now has a WEP. He got accepted in the gifted program as well.
I'd like to move on to our principals' reports, please.
Thank you. Mr. Moldovan, high school principal. First of all, we have a lot of students here. I'd like to welcome our Canfield government classes. Say hello, group. That's nice. Okay. I just have to say one thing before I go through my few things I want to talk about there, and that's the Helping Hands program that Mr. Vito referred to. And it's an amazing program. Since I've been here, we've had it. And just a quick little story about it. We have had, and I guess I could use some maybe not politically correct phraseology here, but we've had gigantic football players, okay? 260, 70-pound kids who are not your stellar performers, let's say, as far as discipline is concerned. You guys know where I'm going with this? And they are in the Helping Hands program, and to watch them work with some of these special needs students is amazing. And it's just, always remember that. Anyway. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I digress. Mr. Flood's probably mad at me, but that's okay. First thing I'd like to talk about is we have a great chemistry program here at Canfield High School. We have a gentleman, Mr. Tom Slavin, who teaches our AP chemistry. He teaches our CC Plus Chem 2s. He teaches microbiology. These are high-level classes. And recently, he took a group of Canfield students to something called the Chemistry Olympiad, where they participated in this national event, and it was just a great experience. We have one student, Ray Burnett, who is only one of 2 local students that actually qualified for the National Chemistry Olympiad. The exam, he scored a 30 or better, and this is going to be given, it was given in March, but the national exam will be given April 17th. But what a tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations go out to Ray and all the students who participated, and especially to Mr. Slavin. Just recently, we have a Model United Nations group, and Mrs. DeLon has been in charge of this for a while, and she wrote me a little note here. She says the Canfield High School Model UN team continues their award-winning record at Youngstown State Model UN Conference. The team placed 2nd this past weekend at the conference in the large delegation category. In the past 8 years, the team received 6 first-place awards in the small delegation. Long story short, our Model UN team, is just outstanding. Again, shout out to Mrs. DeLon, Irene Dong, Hannah Kelly, Emily Mashbaugh, and Zane Perico earned excellent awards. They do a great job, and Mrs. DeLon is retiring, so we'll be looking for somebody to take her place as far as Model UN is concerned. Speech and debate, the nationals. That's right, folks. We have a bunch of kids who are going to compete in June in the national speech and debate tournament all across the country. I could go on and on about Mr. Hamilton and all his speech and debate kids, but a big shout out to these students who are participating in the national speech and debate tournament. It's virtual. Tatiana Caballero, Giovanna Sestone, Irene Dong, Ben Doss, Josh Farley, Bridget Feckety, Ashton Gingrich, Vince Machuga, Grace Min, and Madison Zetz. Congratulations to them. We progress this week as we're selling prom tickets to our seniors first. Very exciting during lunchtime. And again, we wanted to make our prom special for our seniors since they missed out last year. So they will be able to purchase a ticket. They'll be able to bring a guest. And so far it's worked out very well. We'll see at the end of the week how many tickets we have left because of the number of tickets that the venue will allow us to have. And then we will sell those to the juniors on kind of a first come, first served basis. But that progresses. Graduation. I lose a lot of sleep over a lot of issues, and one is graduation. Our graduation is scheduled for Friday, May the 28th. It's at 7 p.m. It's outdoors. We have to make a few adjustments on how we do that as far as the setting up the field and things of that nature, and we won't get into all that. We will have a rain date because we cannot go inside. It's almost impossible to go inside. So the rain date will be the next day. It'll be Saturday, May 29th. We'll get this information out to our school community very shortly. We're ironing out a few more details. We're looking at probably having a rain date on that Saturday and probably having it sometime in the early afternoon. We're not exactly sure when. I know a lot of people have scheduled graduation parties for Saturday evening, things of that nature. If it rains on both of those days, we're working through some issues with that. We don't exactly know what we're going to do. I'm not going to lie to you, but we have some ideas, and we've been talking to our seniors. Okay. So there you have it, Mr. Shields.
Good evening, Rich Shields, Assistant Principal here at Canfield High School. Just a couple things. First of all, I want to just mention the students back there for government have to take notes. That is why Mr. Moldovan mentions that, so that he is in their notes so he can be recognized tomorrow during class. So just want to point that out. So that's just a little off the record piece. But the other thing, our spring sports are off to a great start. We have boys tennis going on, girls and boys lacrosse, softball, and baseball. Everybody's off to a fantastic start. It's notable to mention that our boys baseball team currently right now is ranked #1 in Division II. So They are, off and running and ready to go, and everybody's having a great season thus far. And again, got to thank our bus drivers for, getting them places, getting them there safe. The teams are doing fantastic. With COVID, conditions in the air, we're doing very well. And last but not least, just, Mr. Vito alluded to it about the helping hands. I also have to say something about that. There are two things that point out to me in that program is, not only does it get our students a chance to see, kind of what's going on in that classroom and assist these students, it also provides a mentoring opportunity. I have seen our students who are in that class that have just taken kids under their wing and introduced them to their friends in the lunchroom and, different things. It's just a fantastic thing that you see. And I wish you could see it from our eyes because, sitting up on the stage and not being able to see this thing in motion, it doesn't do it any justice. It's a fantastic thing, and I hope it stays forever. I'm sure Mr. Moldovan can attest. I don't know how many resumes we received that students in their cover letter, or former students in their cover letter, mentioned the Helping Hands class as how it's, changed them and turned them into special, looking into special education for their future. So, there's a lot of good things going on here. I couldn't be more proud to be here, so thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Shields. At this time, since Mr. Shields and Mr. Moldovan have pointed out that we do have our government class students in the back, how about you all stand up and give us your name? Because that is what I do. Come on, guys. Let's go. Thank you very much. Glad to have you.
You're not that quiet in school.
Middle school, there you go.
Good evening. I'm Jed Rubin. I'm the principal of Campfield Village Middle School. I just want to start out with, we have a special guest here today. I just want to introduce her if she would stand up. Shanze Bajwa, if you want to come up. Shanze is one of our Cardinal Digital Academy students, but we opened up everything that we consider them our students. So we had our spelling bee, we had our Digital Academy, and our regular students in the spelling bee. And Shanze was our 2020 Campfield Village Middle School spelling bee winner. But before we give her a round of applause, we also have another thing we want to talk about is they always go to the Vindicator Spelling Bee, and Shanze finished in second place in the entire Vindicator Spelling Bee. So the highest award since I've been here. So we have a plaque for her that we want to present to you. And we're so proud of your accomplishments. And she's only in 7th grade, so we're looking for maybe a repeat winner next year. So again, congratulations for all your accomplishments.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
To talk about spring sports too, we do have our track team, and we're off to a good start with that as well. And lacrosse is a club sport, but we have a lot of students participating in boys and girls lacrosse, which is, when we see students active, it's always a great thing. Finally, I just wanted to thank Mr. Knoll. I'm a rule follower, and I know that no means no. And when I talked to Mr. Knoll about Camp Fitch, it was a pretty solid no, but I poked and I prodded more than I probably ever have for something. And after discussions, and we had him a part of our group with the Camp Fitch people and discussed it a little bit more. And he is allowing us to take our 5th graders to Camp Fitch, and we are just super excited about it. So we're going to be headed out June 2nd through the 4th. Usually we have about 25 to 30 students that decide to stay back, and we have arrangements for them. But this year, right now we only have 8 students not going. So you could just tell that they were, I'm sorry, Mr. Knoll, but did I say 8? I didn't mean 8, I meant 80, yeah, 80. And again, obviously any activity that we do towards the end of the year, our Cardinal Digital Academy families are always welcome. And so we do have some CDA kids that are also attending Camp Fitch. But a big thank you to Mr. Knoll, and the excitement when the teachers announced to our students that they were going, you could hear it throughout the whole building. It's a lot of excitement, and we're going to be very safe and take a lot of precautions. And our 5th grade staff is aware of what we need to do, and they're doing an excellent job with that. So thank you, Mr. Knoll. I really appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Maroney, Assistant Principal at the middle school and Director of the Cardinal Digital Academy. I've been in a couple different districts, and I got to say that the special education program here at Canfield is probably the best I've been a part of. At Hilltop, we had the intensive needs program there, and the Helping Hands kids came down and worked with our kids, and they did an amazing job. The teachers there with those students, it's just incredible to see the dedication to our students, and probably the biggest thing I miss about Hilltop is dealing with those students on a daily basis. The other thing with our special needs program that I really appreciate, we didn't get to have it this year, is the annual Christmas party. Mr. Vito and Mrs. Holmesy do a great job, and to see those kids enjoying that, I missed that this year, and I hope we can get back to that in the future. As far as the Digital Academy, we are in the midst of testing season. We did fifth grade science today. We have 5th and 8th grade science tomorrow. Next week, we have 3rd and 4th grade joining the party with ELA, and then math the following week. We do math in 7th and 8th grade, or 5th through 8th grade next week also. And by the end of April, we should conclude all of the air testing for grades 3 through 8. And I hope that I'm still able to stand up at that. It's a lot of testing going on. And next 2 weeks, I'll be traveling between C.H. Campbell and the middle school to make sure that testing goes smoothly. I have no doubt that Mr. Lavery will make sure that things at C.H. Campbell are smooth, but I will be back and forth between both places. We have end of course exams taking place at the high school starting next week also. We sent letters out to those students to let them know dates and times that they need to be at the high school. I want to thank Mrs. Ruark for providing that information so we can get those letters out. We mailed those on Monday, and we'll have kids doing the end of course exams. Followed up by the first week of May with AP class at the high school. We do offer AP Government, AP Literature and Composition, AP Language and Composition to our Digital Academy students. Something that when we first started the Digital Academy, we said that we were not going to be able to offer, but we did find the ability through Florida Virtual School to offer AP classes, and we had 16 students taking complete AP courses through Florida Digital. So it's been a successful year. Now they've got to finish it up with getting 3s, 4s, and 5s on the AP exam, and we hope to see those from our Digital Academy students. As Mr. Rubin said, our Digital Academy students are involved in the end of year activities at Hilltop, at C.H. Campbell, and at the middle school. They are invited to prom and different things at the high school graduation. So we're looking forward to seeing a successful conclusion of the year with our Digital Academy kids participating in end of year activities at all 3 levels. So thank you very much, and have a great month of April.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Travis Lavery. I'm the principal at C.H. Campbell Elementary School. We have a couple of events that are going to be happening in the near future. Our 5th grade students are going to be having their 5th grade orientation. That's a collaboration with the middle school. Thank you to Mr. Rubin, Mr. Maroney, as well as the 5th grade teachers for helping to organize that event. But our 5th graders at both CH and Hilltop will have the opportunity to go to the middle school and get their first look at what life at CVMS is going to be like. Very excited to get on up there. They're always very excited when it comes to those big transitions. So looking forward to that happening on May 12th. We also have a variety of events through our PTA that are going to be occurring in the near future. We've got our Student Appreciation Day that will be coming up on May 7th. The Kona Ice Truck is going to be coming in and giving the kids a frosty treat on that day, so they'll be very excited for that. They're also going to be working to sponsor a Staff Appreciation Week as well, with a luncheon that will be provided to our staff. Staff is always very appreciative of that support as well. And in addition to that, the PTA collaborated with Canfield Schools, and we have 2 water bottle refill stations that have been put in, one down to service the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade students, and one for the 1st and 2nd grade, kindergarten and 1st grade students as well. So those are installed and the kids are using them, and it's definitely a great addition to the building. We also have basketball hoops that have been ordered through the PTA fundraising that they've done. Those are going to be installed on our playground. They're currently back ordered until probably this week, so we're hoping to get those orders placed soon and get those in and get them installed before the end of the school year. In addition to that, we are going to be collaborating with the City of Canfield for a tree planting ceremony. Every year for Arbor Day, the City of Canfield comes out and sponsors a tree planting ceremony where they plant a tree at CH one year and at Hilltop the next. And this year, it'll be at CH Campbell. Our fourth grade teachers collaborate and develop poems and other things to mark that event. And it's a nice thing. The kids can go back and see the tree that they got to plant that year. So definitely excited for that as well. As Mr. Maroney mentioned, state testing is right around the corner. Our students will be testing in third grade on Wednesday and Thursday over the next 2 weeks. And our fourth grade students will be testing on Monday and Tuesday over the next 2 weeks. All the preparations are ready, and those students are ready to get those out of the way, I'm sure. So the third grade reading guarantee, which has a retention guideline in there, those retention guidelines that are a piece of that have been waived for this school year. So a lot of our parents will be pleased to hear that their students, that's one thing they do not need to worry about, is that retention piece of that third grade reading guarantee. With the COVID-19 pandemic and the variety of ways that school districts have handled it, many districts are just getting back to in-person learning. We're very, very grateful that we've been here since day one and are continuing on strong. So we're very excited to take those assessments and see how well our students have grown over this past school year. So definitely a positive there. And we've also been providing our teachers with some professional development as well, recently on positive behavioral interventions and supports, refining the systems that we have in place, and continuing to improve those for next year, as with the rest of the district. Thank you.
Michael Flood, principal of Hilltop. First of all, before I go into what I need to say, we talked about helping hands and everything, but one thing that I saw in my 7 years in Canfield is the impact on our special needs by our custodians and our maintenance crew. And that goes clear down to transportation, with Larry taking kids, to Scott, it's amazing to see what they're doing, that they have a lot to do, but they take time out to show them real life things, and it means the world to me. And if I ask for a kid, they always taking a kid. So once again, thank you. One of my visions going in this year was always, hey, let's bring Hilltop, even though it was a family before, but before, when I was in Youngstown City, I always established a family. Let's make this a family. I want to know about you, my vision, and one thing, make kids comfortable. And I had to share this email about this mom that is getting out to the community. She emailed us about donating a buddy bench. And this touched my heart, because this is what I want. You know, no kid should be outside playing by himself, should have someone with them. So she donated yesterday, and all she wanted to do is, hey, make the announcement, let kids see it. And you should have saw the smile on his son or her son's face today when we made that announcement. He saw it outside, and it's just going to make a world of a difference. So I just want to thank them. Air testing is starting next week. I got to give a shout out to our teachers. What a job they have done, especially this year. Over and beyond my expectation. They have used the outdoor classroom, anything they could do to get extra time in order to prepare our students for next week. I know I mentioned it quite a few times this year, but the outdoor classroom has started small, it's growing big. And you know what? Our teachers, our volunteers, our PTA, I couldn't ask for more from them. Last week on spring break, they took time out of their own, vacation, came there, got their boots on, got dirty, and cleaned it up. So I do appreciate all that. Lastly, I just want to talk about Mrs. Palumbo and Mrs. Milligan. We started kindergarten registration this week, and man, they have done a wonderful job. And without them, I don't think we'd get this going. I know CH doing the same thing. They're doing a wonderful job. So I just want to get out there, hug those kids, bring them to their classroom, but I know we'll just wait on that, Mr. Knoll. Wait till next year when it's back to normal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you also very much for your presentations. Very much appreciated. Feel free. at this time, we are going to do the presentation of the minutes from the March 10th meeting. As most people are aware, we do receive the minutes ahead of time, so we do go through them, read them. If there are any changes or additions that need to be made, they are done ahead of time. So at this time, I would like to have a motion to accept those minutes from March 10th, 2021.
So moved, Wilkerson.
Campbell seconds.
Roll call?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Cloutier?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes. And at this time, I will turn over the stage to Ms. Prince for our financials, please.
Okay, the cash summary report, the first report in your, in the stack, wanted to point out that a lot of the real estate tax advance money was received this month, so you'll notice an increase in the general fund balance. Also, the state and federal grants on the last page, I have applied for reimbursement for the majority of those, and they were accepted, so we should see those being reimbursed on the next April report. The appropriations, we are 3/4 of the way through the year, and you'll notice we're at 72%, so we are on track with the budget. I do have several appropriation amendments, and I'd like to explain a couple of those. The student wellness and success funds, when we got our final distribution from what was estimated at the beginning of the year, it was $12,000 more, so that was good. You'll see the ESSER II money on there, which is $617,293. We have applied for the Cardinal Digital Academy salaries and benefits to be paid from the ESSER II, and with freeing up that money then, we are hoping to use that $617,000 out of general fund to work on the rooftop units here at the high school that are at end of life. The next one was the CARES Township Sub-Grant, which the $28,500 that was provided by the township, we used that to reimburse for the computers that we got at the middle school for the middle school teachers to do remote learning. The next 5 are federal grants that are adjusted each year at this time by the state. They're just small adjustments, plus or minus. And then I wanted to add one that came across my desk this afternoon. The school safety grant, it's Fund 499. It's a state grant through the police department. I mean, it's funded by the state, but in collaboration with the city police department, it'll be $13,201.44. So I'd like to add that to the list. And then when we approve reports, does anybody have any questions on any of those amendments?
No.
The only comment I wanted to make on the check payment register on the second page, about the middle of the page, Global Equipment Company, we paid $9,459. Those were for those bottle fill stations that they were talking about earlier. So we did finally get those in and paid for. And then purchase orders, the new items that you haven't seen start on page 15. And there are quite a few purchase orders toward the end that relate to the STEM program purchases at the elementary schools, and also the outdoor classroom. There's a lot of purchases to take care of the outdoor classroom. And investments, there's nothing new on the investment report. It's rates are really low. They're going to remain very low for a long time, is what we're hearing, at least a couple years, year or two. So nothing really new to report there. So if there's no questions, we need a motion to approve the reports and especially the appropriation amendments.
So do you want me, I can so move with the appropriation amendments as you stated. with the additional $4.99 fund as well as an addendum.
Okay.
Attway.
Second, Kluchar.
Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes. At this time, do we have anybody that is signed up for public? We do. I know we do.
I'm gonna have to run.
I'll
but-
grab it. Want me to grab it? Elena, can you grab that? Outside, there's a.
There's a
on the-
book.
There's a book on the, just go outside, you'll see it where it says sign in, grab that book.
It's a
Run.
clipboard.
And the clipboard, grab them both.
I think I know, Mr. Duffett, you're on, did you sign in?
Yeah.
He's ready.
Okay.
There you go.
If you wanna go ahead? Well,
Will Mayor Duffett please come to the podium?
There you go.
Richard Duffett. I'm here to announce that we will be having the 4th of July Canfield Alumni Till Open. This is our 10th year, actually 11th, but due to COVID, we had to cancel it. And after consulting with Superintendent Knoll, we were going to go through with it. I talked to the course, and we are anticipating that we are going to eradicate this COVID by the time this rolls around. And if not, we might have to go one per cart. We use both courses. As most of you know, this involves a lot of Canfield students, a lot in the city and township, and we're ready for that. I appreciate the opportunity to come here. Over the past 10 years, we've donated over $340,000 back to school ECAs. This is open to all ECAs. We've helped out, is Mr. Vito still here? We've contributed to special ed program. We've contributed to the PTA. Any group, middle school or high school, is welcome. This initiative is merit-based, so we ask work from the committee. We are launching the committee tomorrow night, this Till Open at 6 o'clock at Fair Park outside. We will be socially distanced and wearing masks, so anybody's welcome to attend, but we're trying to keep the numbers a little bit down, so that's what our goal is. We have 3 forms, and I can give all to the board, but basically our sponsorships, and we'd invite you to be a sponsor as well, and you can, on every form, we have directed giving is what we call it. You can select anything you want in the Canfield schools, and it'll fund that 100%. So if you do a whole sponsor for $100, $100 goes to that, just comes through us, but guess what, then we give a kicker or a bonus depending on how much we make. We've cleared $80,000 the last 2 years, so this is a huge alumni event, 4th of July. Madam DeCapua, President DeCapua has been on the committee before. Dave Wilkinson has helped. Superintendent's already lining up his foursome. I don't know if he's ready to go yet. But I know Patty, have you been there? I'm not sure. And Mr. Campbell, I don't know if you've been there. But it's a great event. And we support academics, athletics, and the arts, but we take a step, we support the American Legion too, that does some things in the community, so we're not opposed to supporting other nonprofits. We just ask them to come in and work and sell whole sponsorships. So that's really all I have. I'm here representing the Till Open with my brother, Dr. Duffett, who's the president of the Boosters, and we have a little brotherly competition to see who can raise more, the Till Open or the Boosters. They do a heck of a job. We combine it, and the Booster Club, I met with your athletic director this afternoon, so we have them up and running, and so we're going to kick this thing off tomorrow. I'd be remiss if I didn't update you on a few city things. The 4th of July is a go. The Memorial Day is a go. Met with the fair today, that's a go. And of course, the Till Open is a go. Now, those are contingent upon what happens with this COVID, and we can't let down on the 4 C's that we have posted as I came in here. We're hoping that we can eradicate this and everybody gets vaccinated, and by July we should be good. It's July 3rd at 8 o'clock at our home, which is Mill Creek Metro Parks. We get a real good reception there. Both of those folks live in Canfield. That's really all I have. Our sponsorships, as I mentioned, go from 100 all the way to 7,500. We already got one of those that's bugging me to write the check, and we just got the forms done today. So that's how excited the alumni are, and he doesn't care where it goes. Any questions from anybody?
Is the parade itself a go, or is it?
We're organized two things. The parade as normal, and then also what they call there's a parade that's stagnant where they'll line up in order. We'll line up all the way in the fairgrounds, and then people can drive by their cars and do a drive-by parade. So that's the COVID backup. The whole parade would stay inside, and everybody in Canfield could drive by and see it in order. And so we're organizing both, and so that's what we'll do there. But we're hoping it'll be open. But as you know, we attract about 13,000 that come into Canfield with this parade and this whole festivity. So it's a big deal. Some people may stay away if COVID's still hanging around. But that's what our plans are right now, to go full steam ahead. We can always plan and shut it down, and that's what we'll need to if necessary. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, PTA, I gotta recognize, PTA's been very helpful in this, and I don't know if they're gonna have the most coveted job at all, driving the carts, but I might have to fight you for one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Patty, was there anyone else?
No.
No? Well, at this time, we have many, many excellent students that we need to recognize at this time. Which is on me. So, we do have our student resolutions, 56 through 100, and then again through 139. I'm gonna take this. Okay. So at this time, student resolutions. April 14th, 2021, resolutions 50 through 80 are as follows. Whereas Trey Dye was named first team All AAC in boys basketball. And whereas Alyssa Dill was named first team All AAC in girls basketball. And whereas Grace Roscoe was named WYTV Student Athlete of the Week for her accomplishments in volleyball. And whereas Tyler Christie was named WKBN Student Athlete of the Week for his accomplishments in ice hockey. And whereas Avon Thomas was named first team All AAC in boys bowling. And whereas Derek Davidson was named first team All AAC in boys bowling. And whereas Madison Murphy was named AAC champion in All NEAC in girls swimming. Whereas Miranda Peckman was named AAC champion in All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Allie Geltka was named AAC champion in All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Jacqueline Palusek was named AAC champion in All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Jordan Helmick was named All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Madison Peckman was named All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Hope Karash was named All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Tessa Searcy was named All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Tori Hartman was named All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Mallory Hughes was named All NEAC in girls swimming. And whereas Connor Fritz was named AAC champion and was a state qualifier boys swimming. And whereas Ty Schaub was named AAC champion and was also a state qualifier in boys swimming. And whereas Luke Dietz was named AAC champion and was a state qualifier in boys swimming. And whereas Cameron Burnett was named AAC champion and was a state qualifier in boys swimming. And whereas the Canfield High School wrestling team took second place in the sectional tournament, 5th place in the Eastern Ohio Wrestling League, and placed 10th in the district tournament. And whereas Nick Barber was named EOWL First Team All-League, First Team AAC, placed first in sectionals, and placed 5th in districts in wrestling. And whereas Ty Stricko was named EOWL First Team All-League, First Team AAC, placed 4th in districts, and was a state qualifier in wrestling. And whereas Logan Miller was named first team All AAC in wrestling, and whereas Noah Frank was named first team All AAC in wrestling. And to continue with resolutions 100 through 139, speech and debate. Whereas Madison Zetz qualified to compete in congressional debate at the 2020 National Speech and Debate Association Tournament, and whereas Madison Zetz also qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association's state tournament in congressional debate. And whereas Ben Doss qualified to compete in humor at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association National Tournament. And whereas Ben also qualified to compete in the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in humor. And whereas Ashton Gingrich qualified to compete in humor at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association National Tournament. And whereas Ashton Gingrich qualified also to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in humor. Whereas Bridget Feckety qualified to compete in informative speaking at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association, and whereas Bridget Feckety also qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association's State Tournament in informative speaking. Whereas Irene Dong qualified to compete in international extemp at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association, and whereas Irene Dong qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in international extemp. And whereas Grace Min qualified to compete in LD debate at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association, and whereas Grace Min qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Lincoln Douglas debate. Whereas Tatiana Caballero qualified to compete in original oratory at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association, and whereas Tatiana Caballero qualified to compete in the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association's State Tournament in original oratory, and whereas Vincent Machuga qualified to compete in original oratory at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association Tournament, and whereas Vincent Machuga qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association's Tournament in original oratory. Whereas Giovanna Sestone qualified to compete in program oral interpretation at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association, whereas Giovanna Sestone also qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in program oral interpretation. Whereas Josh Farley qualified to compete in U.S. Extemp at the 2021 National Speech and Debate Association Tournament, and whereas Josh Farley qualified also to compete in the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association's State Tournament. Whereas Pat Kelly qualified to compete in the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association's State Tournament in Congressional Debate. And whereas Brian Krasella qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate's State Tournament in Congressional Debate. And whereas Anna Kearns qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate State Tournament in Congressional Debate. Whereas Abigail Ambrose qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Declamation. Whereas Gabriella Smallwood qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association's State Tournament in Declamation. And whereas Jack Leeper qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Declamation. And whereas Chloe Hudock qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Drama, and whereas Nicole DeFabio qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Humor, and whereas Catherine Irvin qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Humor, and whereas Nicholas Kraselic qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Informative Speaking. Whereas Dylan Auble qualified to compete in the 2021 Ohio Speech and Association State Tournament in Informative Speaking. And whereas Abigail Fay qualified to compete in the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Informative Speaking. And whereas Jocelyn Zhao qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate State Tournament in International Extemp. And whereas Harjit Kaur qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Lincoln Douglas Debate, and whereas William Fay qualified to compete in the 2020 Ohio Speech and Debate State Tournament in Original Oratory, And whereas Kathleen Esper qualified to compete in the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate State Tournament in Original Oratory. And whereas Delaney Paulo qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Program or Oral Interpretation. And whereas Brianna Haddon qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Program Oral Interpretation. And whereas Julius Stratton qualified to compete at the 2021 Ohio Speech and Debate Association State Tournament in Program Oral Interpretation. And whereas Jacob Courtney earned the Donis D. Roberts Coaching Excellence Award in the National Speech and Debate Association Honor Society. And whereas these accomplishments brought honor to themselves, their families, and their school, therefore be it resolved that these students be commended for these outstanding accomplishments, and that these resolutions be spread upon the official minutes of the Canfield Board of Education, and that copies be presented to them. Congratulations to all of these phenomenal students.
Congratulations. Wow.
That was lengthy.
Can you do that over? I missed a couple.
I think that wins some sort of a, that's an award.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That
was great.
I also was in speech and debate.
Were you?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, I was.
you did well.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. DeCapolo.
Whew, okay. On that note, we are going to move on to new business. Mr. Knoll, I'm gonna turn this over to you. I need to take a breather.
You can take a deep breath. All right. Social personnel, resignation license, Evelyn Canton, Title I tutor, C.H. Campbell, effective June 4, 2021, Exhibit 1A. Resignation of classified, Dean Snavely, special needs aide at the high school, effective June 4, 2021, for the purpose of retirement, Exhibit 1B. Contract renewals for a license for continuing contracts for teachers, those mentioned in Exhibit number 2. One-year limited contracts for our teachers in Exhibit number 3. One-year limited contracts for our tutors, Exhibit number 4. And the non-renewing of limited contracts, bless you, Resolution number 81 of 2021 through number 84 of 2021, that's in Exhibit 5. Under contract renewals for classified continuing contracts, which are found in Exhibit number 6. Limited contracts in Exhibit number 7. Our non-renewing of limited contracts, resolutions number 85 of 2021 through 97 of 2021. Those are found in Exhibit number 8. The hiring of our extracurricular positions in Exhibit number 9. And then finally, Joe Knoll, the dual role support administrative vacancy coverage transition, the $5,500 stipend. All of those personnel items as presented.
Based on the recommendation of our superintendent, I ask for a motion for the following personnel, including 2 resignations, our contract renewals, classified and licensed, our hiring of extracurriculars, and Mr. Knoll's stipend. May I have a motion, please?
That way so moves.
Second, Wilkerson.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
And we're at number 6. I'd like to recommend the second reading of our policies, all those found in Exhibit number 10.
Just so everyone is clear, we did do readings of these the first time. These are the second readings, and these will be voted on tonight. So, per our superintendent's recommendation, may I have a motion to approve the second reading of our policies as stated in Exhibit 10?
Kluchar, so moved.
Campbell seconds.
Discussion?
So this is the adoption of those, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
I'd like to make a recommendation to amend Resolution number 7-2021, declaring transportation impractical for the students as listed on Exhibit number 11.
Based on the recommendation of our superintendent, do I have a motion to amend Resolution 7-2021?
Campbell so moves.
Wilkerson seconds.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
And I'd like to make a recommendation, request permission to advertise for one handicap and one regular school bus.
Based on the recommendation of our superintendent, do I have a motion to advertise for one handicapped and one regular bus?
Kluchar, so moved.
Campbell seconds.
Any discussion? These are for buses and not bus drivers, correct?
We need both.
Okay.
We need drivers
I'm
and
just-
buses.
that's why I
This
asked.
is just the bus.
Okay,
Bus.
these are just the buses,
Yes.
okay.
Just for my own clarification, when we do a transportation, like an advertisement for this, do we have to accept, so this is the purchase, right?
Basically, you're giving the treasurer and I permission to move forward, to advertise that we're interested, and then we'll get bids of
You
buses
get so
from
many
area
bids.
vendors.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, we'll bring that back to you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes?
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
Our Building and Grounds Committee had a meeting on March 18th, which seems like a long time ago. And Mr. Wilkerson, Mr. Ratway are on that committee. Gentlemen, I don't know if you wanted to give a little debriefing, or if you prefer I speak a little. It's up to you.
On what part?
On the 3 agenda items we discussed that day, I'm sure they're right back in your memory there, right?
Yeah, so, you know what, I'll defer to Mr. Wilkerson and I'll add after that.
There you go. Well said.
Well, I know that it was a long time ago.
It
and
was.
We chatted about the rooftop units, probably that's
Yes.
the biggest deal
Yes.
for us. The rooftop units in the high school were all installed as a result of the 19 levy.
Okay.
The Patty should
Sure.
throw the number out there,
Should leave it. Should leave it
1990?
Two?
Two. 1992 levy, so they all went in at the same time, which also means they all fail at the same time, and so they're all kind of failing up there, and it's become a major problem that we've been hearing about. And as Scott's brought it up multiple times, and we've heard about it for a number of years now, so it's definitely something we need to address. We talked about moving the schools forward, looking at how we're gonna replace our aging buildings, and the third item, and the outdoor classroom was the third.
And roofs. We talked about roofs.
Oh, and roofs.
Yes,
Yes.
We have
Roofs. We have
issues.
lots and lots and lots of roof problems. We were actually talking about it right around the time that we had all the water pouring into the middle school, so
Yeah.
that was great
Yeah.
timing for us.
Well, that was a good assessment, Mr. Ratway, if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I would, so he gave a good summary as to what we discussed, and all I would add is that there are a number of urgent needs that we need to address in regards to the building, HVAC, as well as roofing, and then so to consider opportunity and options going forward with new school buildings, we need to try to work on that sooner than later, because if we invest too much in what we currently have, we have to do it as well as we can. We've got a large monumental task ahead of us, and I think a part of that's gonna really require some strong community support, which we'll discuss at probably greater detail. But from an urgency right now, there's no doubt that the HVAC and the roof needs repaired based upon what we've seen, so.
You guys did well, but the major premise being the high school is gonna stay, and we're gonna renovate and update and upkeep that building. So tonight, I'm gonna ask you for a recommendation to adopt resolution number 99 of 2021, declaring an urgent necessity exists and authorizes the execution of a contract for the procurement and installation of replacement rooftop HVAC units at Canfield High School, which is listed as exhibit number 12.
That way we'll so move.
And Wilkerson will second it.
Any discussion from,
So this is a phase-in project. We're gonna spend about $612,000, and the treasurer talked about some ESSER dollars. We're just kind of, we're doing some things here. It's only gonna get us 9 rooftop units, and there's 31 total.
31,
Okay,
yeah.
Now, these 9 are the worst ones we have. So they might be more expensive than other ones down the road. But I know Scott and Matt have been up on the roof and taking a look at this. So this is kind of like phase one of probably 3. We're looking at about $600,000 a shot here to get to what we're going to need, close to $1.8 million just to get the rooftop units on this facility where they need to be. Okay?
So with that added information, is there any more discussion?
Will we be able to consolidate any of those? Like, because it's better technology nowadays, you know, if there's 31, can we go down to 20 or 15? 'Cause
Well,
they're better.
we tried to do that, and I think Scott's shaking his head. He's more the
Yeah.
professional.
No,
But
I don't know.
that-
I'm just asking the question.
That wasn't an option.
Not an option.
No,
Scott,
no.
we want you to just put in half.
Just put a couple of them. They're gonna be a lot more efficient,
That's- yeah.
which is gonna be good. They're gonna have better controls, more efficiency. At the end of the day, we're gonna empower them with a building access type of thing, where they're gonna be able to control all these things remotely, which we don't, we're not quite there. But that's the plan down the road, but
Do we
like,
anticipate, utility bills going down?
Yes.
Electricity? Good.
yeah, that's the hope. It's not gonna be big time money. Rooftop units aren't really energy conservation types of devices. The payback time is
So the building
long.
wasn't built originally with electricity? I mean,
Yes, it was.
It's pretty old, but yeah, it's pretty old.
And we did not have, we did not have air conditioning here.
Yeah, so,
not have air
Yep.
conditioning. And then when you said 3 rounds, are we
was no air
anticipating,
conditioning.
hoping to be able to do the next round with, like, in a year, or?
if you're asking me, my hope is within the next 3 years, we're
You
able
can
to
do
pull this off.
one each year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, obviously, the problem is we need the dollars.
The funding,
We're
funding,
gonna look at
absolutely.
PI money and look at some other ways. As a friend
Right.
told me, have a bake sale. Well, that's not gonna quite get it done,
No.
but we're
Yeah.
gonna need to invest some serious money, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just one need, these,
Yeah.
we're Band-Aiding the middle school
Right.
roof because the water pours in
Right.
when there's
I
when
understand.
there's any heavy
Like,
rains and
little more
snows.
than a tag
but-
day with our cans, too. Yeah.
Yep.
Any more questions from the board? Roll call?
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
As Mr. Rubin said, I'm going to ask for your approval of an out-of-state overnight field trip, exhibit number 13, sending our 5th graders to Camp Fish.
Wilkeson strongly moves for approval.
Strongly.
Strongly. I am so happy to hear that we are starting to
then-
get
Are you
back
now?
to some
Then
sort
why
of
don't you
normalcy.
take over my little spiel here?
Uh-oh.
sorry.
Atway
Go
will
ahead.
Oh, boy.
All right, all
excitedly
right.
second.
Excited.
Excited.
We have all kinds of verbiage tonight on the floor. Oh, smoke.
This means they got people going. All right, any discussion?
I'll just make a comment and just thank Mr. Rubin, who's left, and Mr. Knoll for this decision. I've got a 5th grader. I know he's extremely excited to participate in this, and I was anxiously awaiting a decision. So I know it took a lot of analysis and discussion and making sure safety was first. And so I know Mrs. Miller was also on the committee, so thank you, Julie, for that. But just to thank you to all you guys, and I'm sure this will be a job well done. So, and it helps that they're the last 3 days of school too. So that's great.
Can't wait to see the pictures.
Mr. Knoll,
in
do
a
you
good
need,
way.
I'll buy you a pair of rosary beads if you need.
I'm going to need everything I can get.
All
I'm going to need a little bit of everything, yeah. I'm trying to sleep well at
Camp
night.
Fitch is wonderful.
It's okay, we've got this,
Yeah.
we've got this.
Yes.
All right, any more discussion on Camp Fitch? We have 2 holy sound motions.
Yes.
Yes.
Roll call.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCapua?
Yes.
And we're going to make an announcement about intra-district open enrollment applications that will be accepted between Hilltop and C.H. Campbell Elementary Schools. I don't think we need any action there, right? Just a little conversation. Or do we, Ms. Treasurer? Do we need
No.
action? I believe so. Yep, okay. So we're at donations. Turn it back to the treasurer.
Exhibit 14, donations totaling $36,384.97. many of those were PTA.
I'm sorry, can you say that number again?
$36,384.97.
That's awesome. That's pretty amazing.
Do you want me to read them, or?
No, I just,
Okay.
I mean,
I have it, but I just,
yeah.
yeah, I'll just give it to you right now as soon as I know it's in my pile.
You know what, Patty? Why don't you read it? I
Read
think
'em?
it's- Yeah, I believe that.
Or you want to read them?
I will.
Mr. Elliott? I should read 'em.
Because I truly believe that this is so beneficial to our district. So let me please read the donations that we have for this month. Canfield PTA General Fund for water stations, $3,196. Canfield PTA CH Campbell to the Principals Fund for STEM, $9,815. Canfield PTA Hilltop, $5,022 to help fund the outdoor classroom. Canfield PTA Hilltop, $11,206 put into the Hilltop Principals Fund for their STEAM program. Coca-Cola Give, $30 for the CHC's Principals Fund. Ohio Pile Prince, $113 to CHS's Principal Fund. Greg Kerr, $2,000 put into the Nicole Judy Kerr Memorial Scholarship Fund. Centofanti Charitable Foundation, $5,000 to be implemented for CHS scholarships. And then we also had Robert Sen Studio, who reframed a lot of our Board of Education pictures, and Next Generation Security and Sound for security and equipment for our outdoor classroom. Total cash, $36,384. Thank you all very much. Julie, thank you, and the PTA, and all your representatives.
We need, so,
Do we have to move
do
it?
you
Oh,
want me
I'm
to
so
make a
sorry.
motion?
So based on, yeah, so based on the donations, may I have a motion?
I will, Atway will so move to accept.
Kluchar, second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Atway?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Kluchar?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mr. Capula?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a few things. So let's talk about this PTA thing. We are full steam ahead. No pun intended. But did y'all catch that?
We did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
When you guys interviewed me, actually, it was a year to go, almost to the day.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, but it was. I had a little premonition about the date. You heard me tell you what some of my vision was, and this was one of them. Now you got a group of people who are supporting this initiative incredibly strong, which I can't tell you how much that means to me. Now, our commitment is we're hiring an elementary STEM teacher, a new one, because we're going at this. Okay, I'm a firm believer, you guys know that. This whole concept of hands-on learning and creation, and we're preparing kids for jobs that aren't even out there yet. That's what this whole thing is about. So I want to thank Julie and her group personally too. But this was the vision I said a year ago, and we're rolling with it. So it's going to be exciting. These maker spaces are going to be awesome, and the people who are going to be running them is going to be great. So next board meeting, we are going to have the annual State of the Schools address. This will be the first one, because there hasn't been one before here.
Oh,
at Campbell,
wow.
I don't think. So, what the treasurer and I are going to do, I don't know if she knows this yet, but we're going to make a presentation for the community about what's been going on in Canfield this year and what the vision and direction is for next year. That will take about a half hour to 40 minutes or so. So I don't know if you want to start our meeting earlier or if you just want it to be part of the meeting. But I just want to give you a little heads up. It's going to be half hour-ish or so next board meeting. So we could go like a 5:15 start or go at 6 and we'll go a little bit longer, whatever you prefer.
I'm open to an early start if you want.
Well,
Say it again.
I said I'm
Nader
open
said
to an
he's
early
open
start.
to an
if you
earlier
guys are open
start.
to
A
it.
little earlier? Yeah, I didn't know about his work
Matt,
schedule looked
what
like.
about-
I'm good either way, whatever's
Jenny,
best.
what about you down there?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean,
Either- I mean-
I'm done at 3:30.
So we could do a 5:15?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
We could do a
Yeah.
five fifteen and start the
Okay.
address at 5:15.
So we're gonna talk about the 2 Cs and the 2 Fs. And these aren't bad things, okay? But C's curriculum, communication, and the Fs are facilities and finances. That's why I'm going to need treasurer, okay? But it's gonna be a good educational experience for me, just to learn a little bit more about what's going on here in Canfield. But I'm gonna try to do this for as long as I'm here. It will be an annual State of the Schools address. We are having a bus driver hiring event.
Real quick.
Yes.
Are we gonna send out invites to the community so that they can
Yes.
tune in?
Yes, but basically what we're gonna do, instead of you sitting up here, you're gonna sit down there.
Okay.
And I'm gonna project it up on the big screen.
Okay.
And we'll do it live, kinda like what we've done with some other presentations, okay? And then we'll just transition right into the board meeting after that, so. But we'll get out on social media, and I'll put it on my Tuesdays, and all that good stuff as well, okay?
It might be a good all-call too.
What's that?
It might be a good for an all-call, just a,
All calls are
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep, yeah, we'll get that word out. Bus drivers, we only need buses, we need people to drive. Good point, Mr. President. So Friday, April the 23rd, from 10 to 12, we're just gonna have a little meet and greet out the transportation building. People who are interested can come learn more about what it looks like to drive a bus and what some of the training and qualifications are, but we need some help. We're not the only ones that need help when it comes to bus drivers. So we're gonna do a little recruiting. In my Tuesdays I sent out, I talked about the Canfield Education Innovation Fund and how excited I am about this. I've talked to Julie and the PTA as well. When this thing gets up and running, we're gonna be able to have any staff member in Canfield write a grant for something innovative, creative, and be able to give them dollars through this fund just to go at it and basically help teaching and learning of our kids. So there'll be a lot more information coming up, but the fundraiser's out there. It's $20. It's a 5K, walk, run, ride your bike, walk the dog, whatever you want to do, and get a t-shirt. So make sure you fill out that form, send it in with your kiddo to your school, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. I don't know if Mr. Moldova mentioned NHS. I don't think he did
No,
earlier.
he did not.
Okay, but we got NHS coming here on April 22nd. I think that's a Thursday, right? Next Thursday. One of my favorite weeks of the year is coming, Teacher Appreciation Week. We had the principals talk about that. We'll have a lot of fun that week, doing a lot of cool things. Food's always good, all right, as the PTAs are gonna be helping out with that, that'll be fun. A Business Advisory Council update. I don't know if you know this, but we're required by law to be a part of a Business Advisory Council, either as a school district or through the ESC. Canfield has chosen to do this through the ESC, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good plan. I attend all the meetings that they have, and like I said, by law, we're required to do it. By March 1st, the ESC was required to kind of put out a little statement of all the accomplishments, and they have done that. And one of the things that got my attention, and I'm not gonna give all this up yet, because I need something for next month. There's a program, a pre-apprenticeship program, that I really have a good look at, and I'm excited about bringing that to Canfield. Basically, it's gonna be an in-house career tech program in our industrial arts curriculum. And I'll roll more of that out to you. Actually, our teacher went there today to get a little in-service to see how he feels about it. But I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a nice program. I'm an old school kind of guy. I think there's still a niche for kids to work with their hands. Building, last time I checked, people are still building homes.
Oh, yeah.
And you gotta have that workforce. And I think we're gonna have a group of kids here in Canfield that will really enjoy that. So, but we'll roll that out a little bit more, probably next month, talk to you. Our extended learning plan is in. It was due April 1st. Mr. Vito and I got that submitted. It's on our website if you wanna look at it. The best news I can give you, we have been here since day one. So that learning gap is shrunk down like crazy. But we are still gonna move forward with some initiatives. We're gonna do some summer school that you all approved last board meeting with our elementary and middle, focusing on reading and math, which I think is always good. And we also added some mental health components this year. We talked about that way at the beginning of the year, but we're gonna add a little bit more on next year as well. You guys know where my heart's at there. We still have a lot of needs, a lot of things going on, so we're gonna continue in that venue. I'd also like to get our curriculum committee together, and and I know it's my two colleagues down here to the right. I'd like you to take a look at our high school curriculum and our course offering guide, just to kind of get an idea about what's going on there. So we're going to call a meeting, have Mr. Moldovan sit down with us. We could do it virtually just to save some time, if that's okay. So I know you guys are busy with things. But you're on that committee for a reason. We'd like to get together with you.
don't respond to your email.
Not a problem. Yep, not a problem. And finally, I give the board an update at the end of the workday on COVID.
Let's hear it.
0 positive cases today.
Excellent.
I am concerned, however, we have 7 contacts, which means mom or dad is positive, and me as the child has to stay home. So I'm a little concerned there, but for the 3rd day in a row, again, there's 0 staff members as well. So our staff is doing an amazing job keeping safe, but without them, we're not here.
That's great.
That would be my report.
Thank you. That
Yes,
was
ma'am.
a heck of a report, thank you. Do we have any other business before we head into executive session? Anybody would like to bring up? If not, okay, so at this time, I am going to ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential business of an applicant for economic development assistance. To let our audience know, we will be back. There will be no ruling on what we go into this executive session for, so you are more than welcome to leave, and we appreciate having you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moved, Wilkerson.
Campbell seconds.
Roll call?
Mr. Atwood?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Clucher?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeCaprio?
Yes.
Did you want to go